Across the annals of human conflict, certain innovations have not merely shifted the tide of battle, but fundamentally reshaped civilization itself. From the earliest flint tools to the most sophisticated modern armaments, the story of humanity is intrinsically linked to the evolution of its weapons. This series, From Black Powder to Battlefield, A History of Weapons, embarks on an epic journey to explore these transformative instruments of war and the profound impact they have had. Our saga begins in the heart of ancient China, a land of unparalleled scientific curiosity and philosophical depth, where a serendipitous discovery would unleash a force that would echo through millennia. It was here, during a period of intense intellectual ferment, that alchemists, driven by an insatiable quest for immortality, stumbled upon a substance far more potent than any elixir, huayao, or gunpowder. The precise origins of gunpowder are shrouded in the mystical practices of Taoist alchemists during the Tang dynasty, likely around the 9th century AD. These scholars were not seeking destructive power, but rather elixirs of long life and transformation, often experimenting with various minerals and compounds like saltpeter, sulfur, and charcoal, which are the fundamental components of black powder. The earliest known written reference to this explosive mixture appears in the Jinyuan Myodo Yalu, Essentials of the Mysterious Tao of the True Origin, around 850 AD. This text warned against mixing sulfur, realgar, and saltpeter with honey, cautioning that smoke and flames will leap forth, and their hands and faces will be burned, and even the whole house might burn down. This serves as a clear, albeit accidental, acknowledgement of gunpowder's volatile nature. This early gunpowder, likely containing a lower nitrate content than later military formulations, was initially more flammable than explosive. It was characterized by a tendency to burn rapidly and produce copious smoke and flame, rather than detonate with a concussive force. This characteristic made it initially more suitable for pyrotechnic displays than for battlefield application. The first widespread non-military application of gunpowder was, perhaps surprisingly, in entertainment. By the 10th century, fireworks, huayao or fire medicine, had become a common spectacle in imperial courts and public festivals across China. These early pyrotechnics, though simple by modern standards, were dazzling displays of light and sound, enchanting audiences and demonstrating the compound's captivating power. Beyond mere spectacle, gunpowder found practical application in construction and signaling. Its ability to create loud noises was quickly leveraged for celebratory purposes, warding off evil spirits during festivals, and marking significant events. These early civilian uses demonstrate the compound's versatility, even before its weaponized potential was fully understood. However, it was the incendiary properties of gunpowder that first hinted at its destructive potential. The earliest documented military use wasn't an explosion, but rather the creation of fire arrows or huojian. These were conventional arrows to which small packets of gunpowder mixture were attached, designed to ignite upon impact and set fire to targets. The Wujing Zongyao, collection of the most important military techniques, compiled in 1044 during the Song dynasty, provides the first detailed recipes for gunpowder and descriptions of these early incendiary weapons. It outlines 3 distinct gunpowder formulas, each with varying saltpeter content, suitable for different uses, from signaling to setting fires. One crucial early weapon described in the Wujing Zongyao was the flying fire or Fei Hua Chang, a type of incendiary projectile launched from a trebuchet. These were bundles of arrows wrapped with gunpowder and oil-soaked rags, designed to ignite enemy structures from a distance. Their primary purpose was to cause widespread panic and destruction through fire. The transition from mere incendiary devices to true projective weaponry marked a pivotal shift. This innovation arrived with the fire lance or huochang, appearing in the early 12th century during the northern Song dynasty. It was essentially a spear or polearm to which a bamboo tube filled with gunpowder was attached. When ignited, the fire lance would expel a torrent of flame, smoke, and often small shrapnel-like projectiles, creating a terrifying psychological effect on enemy troops. It functioned more as a short-range flamethrower or a shock weapon than a true firearm, but its immediate impact was undeniable. Initial fire lances were simple, single-shot devices, often consuming themselves in the blast. However, Chinese engineers quickly refined the design, incorporating stronger metal tubes and allowing for multiple discharges. This marked the very first step towards what we would recognize as a handheld firearm. The Jurchen Jin dynasty, who frequently warred with the Song, were among the first to experience the terrifying effectiveness of these early gunpowder weapons. Their cavalry, previously dominant, found themselves vulnerable to the shock and incendiary power of the fire lances, particularly in close-quarters combat and siege defense. The Siege of Kaifeng in 1126–1127 is a crucial moment in this narrative. Although the northern Song capital eventually fell to the Jurchen, the defenders notably employed a variety of gunpowder weapons, including fire arrows and rudimentary bombs, as recorded in historical accounts like the History of Song. These were early attempts to use explosives in strategic defense. The thunderclap bomb or Jin Tianlei, another significant advancement, emerged in the early 13th century. These were cast iron containers filled with gunpowder, designed to explode upon impact or with a timed fuse, producing a deafening noise and lethal shrapnel. This was the first true explosive shell, a direct ancestor of modern artillery rounds. The Battle of Kaisha in 1161, a pivotal naval engagement between the Song and Jin dynasties, showcased the destructive potential of these new weapons. Song naval forces deployed thunderclap bombs and fire lances with devastating effect against the larger Jin fleet, helping to secure a decisive victory despite being outnumbered. Eyewitness accounts from the Battle of Kaisha describe the thunderclap bombs as causing fire to issue forth like dragons from the water, accompanied by a sound like thunder, striking and burning the enemy ships. This imagery vividly captures the terror and awe inspired by these nascent explosive technologies. By the late 12th and early 13th centuries, gunpowder weapons had become an integral, though still evolving, part of Chinese warfare. From simple incendiary arrows to rudimentary hand cannons, the Song dynasty military was at the forefront of this technological revolution, desperately trying to maintain an edge against its formidable northern neighbors. The knowledge of gunpowder was not confined to China indefinitely. Through trade routes, cultural exchange, and later, military conquest, this transformative secret began its slow, inevitable journey westward. The Mongols, in their vast conquests, would play a crucial, albeit often brutal, role in disseminating this technology. The Mongol invasions of the 13th century, particularly their campaigns against the Song dynasty, exposed them directly to Chinese gunpowder weaponry. Although the Mongols themselves did not initially invent gunpowder, they quickly recognized its strategic value and began to incorporate it into their own formidable war machine. The Mongols adopted Chinese engineers and artisans, coercing them to produce gunpowder and its associated weapons for their campaigns. This forced technology transfer accelerated the spread of gunpowder knowledge across Asia, from Persia to Eastern Europe, fundamentally altering military dynamics in every region it touched. By the mid-13th century, rudimentary gunpowder weapons, likely brought by the Mongols, appeared in the Middle East. Arab texts refer to barid, saltpeter, and describe recipes similar to Chinese formulas. The Mamluks of Egypt, for instance, are recorded using cannons in the Battle of Ain Jalut in 1260, although the exact nature of these devices is debated. The conceptual leap from a fire-emitting tube to a projectile-firing cannon was a gradual, yet revolutionary one. Early cannons, known as hand cannons or gon, were essentially enlarged fire lances with sturdier metal barrels, capable of firing heavier projectiles. These appeared in China during the late Song and Yuan dynasties, around the late 13th century. One of the earliest confirmed examples of a true hand cannon is the Heilongjiang hand cannon, discovered in Manchuria and dated to 1288. This bronze weapon, weighing over 3.5 kilograms, features a distinct chamber for the gunpowder charge and a barrel for the projectile, marking a clear departure from incendiary devices. These early cannons, though primitive, represented a paradigm shift in warfare. Their ability to deliver a devastating kinetic blow from a distance, shattering fortifications and penetrating armor, promised a new era of military dominance. The sheer force of these weapons was unprecedented. The immediate impact of these early cannon-like weapons was limited by their inherent flaws, slow reloading times, unreliability, and immense weight. Yet, their potential was undeniable. They hinted at a future where walls would crumble, and armored knights would find their defenses rendered obsolete. From humble alchemical experiments in ancient China, gunpowder had embarked on a journey from ceremonial firework to devastating weapon. It evolved from a mere incendiary agent into a propulsive force capable of launching lethal projectiles, setting the stage for an entirely new dimension of warfare. The reverberations of this Chinese innovation would soon be felt across continents, sparking a military revolution that would utterly transform siegecraft, naval engagements, and open field battles. No longer would fortified walls offer impenetrable sanctuary, nor would heavily armored warriors remain invulnerable. The stage was set for the advent of truly massive and destructive artillery. Next time, in Siegebreakers, the cannon's dominance, we will witness how gunpowder left the realm of handheld devices and evolved into the formidable siege cannon, the weapon that would lay waste to ancient defenses and redefine the very nature of conquest.